Hey team, it was great having you last Thursday, and I've been thinking about our time together and just some of the things this really want to give you to focus on as takeaways from that talk. Of course, if you have any questions over those notes, just give us a text or call, or just mention that on your next visit. If it's a little bit more likely response, I'll kind of push that to a phone call just to give it the time that it needs. But there's some things I really want you to focus on. I'll give you a fasting link in the kind of the comments of this video. There's a lot of information on there, but a lot of us just kind of asked about that and placed on that just because I think it's so interesting. But unless you feel really called towards it, I just wouldn't necessarily start there just because it is a bigger jump for a lot of people. It is a fantastic tool. I love it. But sometimes one of these things that I'm mentioning are kind of more the keys that I would recommend you kind of start looking into and kind of start engaging today. The first one, I didn't really talk about this at all. This is tracking. Some people just are not really aware at all what they're eating, and just taking time to notate what they are eating, not really changing behavior, but just kind of noting. It's like how often am I snacking? How often am I eating kind of processed foods? How often am I eating more healthy foods? You can be as detailed as you like, but just get a better handle on overall the calories you're consuming. And a lot of people are drinking calories too. And so just check in on that. Like, how often am I drinking high caloric beverages that I could replace with water and not be drinking at all? Okay. And then next thing to focus on would be once you have a good idea or a better idea what you're eating, kind of what are those macros? So macros are the general kind of nutrient families. You have proteins, you have fats, and you have carbohydrates. And so kind of where do I eat a lot of these? This is really high carbohydrate kind of food that I'm eating or high carbohydrate diet that I'm eating. If that's the case, we want to kind of dial that back a little bit. Our society classically has a lot of very calorie dense carbohydrates and fats, and then not a lot of like nutrients in it. And most people need to increase their protein content, increase their healthy fat content, and decrease their overall carb content. Okay. The more processed foods that you're consuming, generally the higher, more refined carbs you're eating. So you just kind of want to watch on that. And then something to think about with macro timing. And so as a general trend, this can get pretty deep pretty quickly, but a general trend for most people is they want to start the day with a good protein and a good healthy fat and minimal to no carbohydrates, and lunch kind of inducing some kind of lighter carbohydrates, like kind of some fruits or some vegetables or salad. Again, pretty high protein content. And then at the end of the day is a time that you can actually start to have some starchy carbs to replenish some of those carbohydrate stores, but also starchy carbs at the end of the day kind of get you a little bit more slower and kind of get you into a sleep state. And so if you do want a starchy carb, just reserve those to the end of the day, more classic. Those are your pastas, your potatoes, that sort of stuff. So just kind of save those for the end of the day. The most important things first thing in the morning, healthy proteins to kind of get those muscles kind of building back up and starting your day. So that way you're not depleting your muscles over time. And then if there are any other carbohydrates or fats in there, just make sure they're really high quality. Okay. And then planning. Once you kind of get an idea, what are you feeling called to? How can I engage that plan so I can start to crowd out the bad stuff? So if I just crowd out my stomach can only hold so much space. If I fill it with a really healthy smoothie or like a really good clean breakfast, I just don't have time for other stuff. And that's going to fill me up for a while. And so I'm not going to be snacking in the morning. And then whatever you want to do, start something. There's no change without any movement. So we need to be moving in a new direction. And if we can change just a little bit about the movement or food we're putting into our life, we can start to change a lot of other categories too. We do control every bite. And so if we can choose what we put in our mouth, we can choose to do a lot of different things. And sometimes changing your diet can have a really profound impact on all your areas of life. And so just starting with something today, what do you feel called to do today? If you have any questions or comments, just give us a call or an email. I'll love to answer those. To your higher health in the future, I look forward to serving you again soon.